serrano chilies. Then you blend it. Has tons of lime. Hey y'all, welcome to this week's recipe. This week I'm going to show you guys how to make a shrimp aguachile. If you've never had aguachile before, it is like the Mexican version of ceviche, and it requires a little chili, since aguachile. There is actually no water in mine because I like it to be very intense, but we're gonna need tons of lime, some cilantro, some chilies. I actually got serrano chilies. I had a bag of them, and so I didn't know what to do. I couldn't use them in time. I froze them, so they're frozen, and we're gonna blend this. So if you ever have leftover chilies that you can't use, just freeze them, and you can use them in like cooking applications or when you blend it like this. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna clean our shrimp. I always like to use a plastic cutting board whenever handling raw meats or seafoods. But I peeled my shrimp, and now I'm gonna cut them in half this way, removing any of the intestinal line. We don't really wanna eat that, okay? And this is when you really want to take the time to do this, because we're going to eat it raw. I say raw, but it's going to cure in the lime and salt, so we don't want any of that. So we're just going to lay this out. We want a nice layer, and it's nice to have like a little bowl of water or something, and you can kind of help peel all of that. This stuff here is not actually bad. This is the like roe. It turns orange when you cook it. That's actually good stuff. But it's usually on the intestinal line. So I'm just gonna clean it all because we don't really want that this time. So I'm gonna do this to all of my shrimp, making one nice layer onto this kind of bowl dish situation. So now we're gonna cure this. I have 2 plates here of shrimp that I cut, and I divided it because I don't have a platter big enough. Plus I like these platters or plates. So I'm going to juice 2 limes and some salt. So for this 1 pound of shrimp that I have here, I'm going to sprinkle on about a half of a teaspoon of salt between the 2. You just want to give it a generous pinch of salt each. And this is going to help it cure. And it's crazy because you'll see the shrimp kind of turn pink. And then you're going to want about 1 to 2 limes. I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 limes like that. And you really want, because like limes, they all have like different amounts of juice. You just want to make sure you squeeze enough lime that it kind of coats, not covers, but coats the shrimp. It has to look kind of wet like that. So that was like 3/4 of a lime. And now we're going to put this in the fridge for 20 minutes. So enough lime juice that it kind of coats it. We're going to set that aside. So while we wait for our shrimp to cure, I have a red onion here. We only really want 1/4 of a red onion. Like that. Peel the skin, cut the ends. And actually I want to cut it in half because I don't want them to be super, super long. And then I'm going to slice it. So when I slice it, instead of slicing it half moons like this, I'm going to slice it like sticks. So we're going to then put it into a bowl, season it with like a nice pinch of salt, kind of toss that around. And then we're just going to cover this with cold water. Just like that. Now, if you want the red onions to turn like a nice pink, give it a splash of vinegar. So now we're gonna leave this to the side, and we're gonna use that as a garnish later. Next, we're going to make our sauce. So we're gonna need a couple of things. I have 2 serrano chilies. I'm gonna keep them whole. I want the seeds because I want them to be spicy. But you can, if you don't want them to be spicy, you could definitely cut them in half and take the seeds out. We have a clove of garlic, I have a little bit of fish sauce, some salt, and some cilantro. I washed the cilantro and I'm just gonna cut the bottoms of the stems, but you can have stems in this, and we want about a cup of cilantro. It could be roughly chopped. The stems have so much flavor, so you definitely want that. And you want to pack the cilantro. The cilantro is going to give it like a wonderful color as well as like that herbaceous flavor. So 1 cup of that. Then we're going to need a 1/2 cup of lime juice. Perfect. So that took me about 3½ limes. And now we're gonna just put it all into the blender. So I have my cup of cilantro with stems, 2 serrano chilies, because I want it to be spicy. You could start with 1 or you could take the seeds off. That 1 garlic, 1/2 cup of lime juice, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I'm using red boat fish sauce today because we're eating this in a raw preparation, and this is a little bit saltier, so I really like it. So we're gonna go with 1 teaspoon of this. Okay, and now we blend. So now that we have our sauce, which I ended up adding another teaspoon of fish sauce in, and it's, boy, is that spicy. It's so spicy. My mouth is, I tasted it and now it is burning my lips. So I'll probably use it sparingly, but I'm going to dice up some cucumber. I don't really want the seeds of the cucumber, so I'm just going to cut like little planks on each side like this, leaving the seeds in the middle. And I'm going to dice that up. This is going to be a nice little crunchy component to our aguachile. So I'm going to dice up the cucumbers, and then I'm going to slice the radishes in rounds. Just like this. Actually, I think 1 cucumber might be enough for both. So for the radishes, I like to just cut them like this and cut them thinly. They don't have to be super thin, and you can soak them in water if you don't want them to be as like spicy, like a spicy radish usually is. I'm just gonna put it in this little cup of water here. I love radishes. We have our radishes, we have some cucumber, and we have our red onions. Let those soak, and then we'll drain them, and then we'll use this to garnish as well. And now we wait for the 20 minutes. So it's been about 20 minutes, and you'll be able to see the shrimp is starting to cure. You can see it's starting to turn white on the bottom side where all the lime juice is. That's okay, that's exactly what we want. You can kind of flip them over. You can kind of start to see that they turn pink if you put the skin side down. And that's exactly what we're looking for. I kind of like to wiggle all of it so that it has contact with some lime juice. And now it's not quite ready yet. You could eat this almost at this moment, because like this one seems pretty cured. But when they turn pink is when you know they're really, really cured. But when they turn pink, you have to eat them almost right away, because otherwise they'll over cure and they get pretty tough. We have this sauce. We have about a cup of sauce. And what I like to do is, this also has tons of lime and salt. So we'll pour a little bit of that over all the shrimp. And it's really gonna cure the top of the shrimp. This sauce is very strong, very spicy as well. So be careful. I like how it lays on the plate. So I'm going to just kind of wiggle it all, so it's all kind of tossed in the sauce, but still in a nice even layer. And of course, if you don't like raw, like curing something, or you're nervous about it, you could always poach the shrimp and do this, but know that it's not going to be as intensely flavored as if you were to use raw shrimp. But know that that's an option. Nobody's going to force you to eat raw shrimp. Ooh, that that spicy. Next, we're gonna just put a bunch of our cucumbers on top. Now, if you're not going to serve it right away, hold off on these garnishes. You could let this mixture kind of sit for a few hours. So you could do this in advance if you're having like a dinner party. And then you can kind of take it out whenever your guests arrive, and you can serve it with chips. So then I'm gonna lay just a few of these radishes. And then a little bit of the red onion. You can even go crazy and make it all go in one direction. It's very Michelin starred plating. We are at home, so I'm gonna do it regularly. And of course you can cut your red onions a little smaller if you don't really want big pieces like this. And then lastly, a little bit of cilantro. I just like the leaves. Just a few cilantro leaves. And pretty. And there we have it. Double trouble. Look how pretty that is. Now, I personally like to serve it with these tortilla chips. I don't know, they sell it at Whole Foods. I don't know if they'll sell it in your Whole Foods, but they're really good. But your favorite tortilla chip. And you want like a thick tortilla chip. Don't get the thin ones because you want it to be able to scoop. So let's give it a try. All right, guys. Aguachile with shrimp. Get me a chip. Give me a perfect bite. So I want like a little sauce, a little cucumber, a little shrimp, a little radish. My mouth's like watering. It's so spicy, but so good. And the fish sauce and this just makes it more like of a flavor punch. I hope y'all really like this. Cheers, everyone. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe, and I'll see y'all next week.